your legacy in the NFL is pretty cemented, but what would you want your legacy to be as a dad?
Caring, very supportive. One who embarked the wisdom on just a normal human being, wanted to see the man next to him or woman next to him be happy. I'm just a guy who, is willing to do whatever it takes in order to better someone else's situation. And at the end of the day, that's something that I think goes more of a long way than people remembering how many touchdown passes you've thrown or how many games that you've played in. Because it's always about life after football and how you've changed the lives of others around you and have bettered their situation and gave them opportunities to be able to go on with their everyday lives confident and to be very successful.
What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec Lace. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is NFL legend Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb played his college football at Syracuse University, where they retired his number 5 jersey. He had a phenomenal college career. Then he was selected with the 2nd pick overall in the 1999 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles, who eventually retired his number 5 jersey as well. He had just a tremendous career. He took the Eagles to Super Bowl XXXIX. He was selected to 6 Pro Bowls. He's in the Eagles Hall of Fame. But more importantly than all those stats, in 2009, he was selected as the Father of the Year by the Father's Day Council. He's a first-class father all the way. I'm honored to have him on the podcast today. Donovan McNabb joins me. Get down there, smack the subscribe button, tap the like, and let's jump into it right now with Donovan McNabb on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, first-class father Donovan McNabb. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited being here.
All right, well, let's start just like this here. How many kids do you have? How old?
I've got 4 kids. My oldest is 17. She's a senior in high school this year. I've got twins that are 13 and a 12-year-old. 2 boys, 2 girls. So Dad has been worked in every part that he can possibly work in, but I enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, I got 4 kids myself, Donovan. I'm right there with you. I got 3 boys, and then we got the girl on the 4th try. Otherwise, we'd still be going there. But you got 2 and 2 even split. So I like your style there. What kind of sports or activities are all the kids into?
Well, we have the girls are involved in basketball. My youngest is more involved in softball as well. My oldest at this point is, she's going off to college at the University of Buffalo to play basketball there with Coach Jack, and very excited about that move that she'll be making. My boys are involved in basketball, soccer, cross country, football as well for my 13-year-old. So we're just staying active, man. It's exciting to see the development of each and every one of them, and more importantly, just the excitement and camaraderie that they've built throughout the years.
Yeah, very cool. Do you ever get involved in coaching your kids, or do you always step aside from that and enjoy it more from the sidelines?
No, I have been coaching. I've coached my oldest in AAU basketball, and then I've started coaching my youngest daughter in basketball and coached her in softball as well. My son, I've stepped away and just kind of worked with his development of just kind of work more skill stuff and focusing in on the intricate parts of football as well as basketball. And for soccer, I'm just a dad. I'm a soccer dad sitting on the side. That's all.
Yeah, I got involved in coaching soccer a little bit when they were doing the 4-year-old stuff because soccer, ain't my thing. But it was fun to watch them all, chasing around at a young age. But if you could, Donovan, please, for the few people who may not know, just hit us with a little bit about your background and what you do.
Well, I'm a former NFL player, former NFL quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Redskins, and Minnesota Vikings. 13-year career in the NFL. Retired now for I would say the last 10 years, and now have just become pretty much still an entrepreneur, doing stuff in the community. Also started my own AAU softball club organization here in Arizona, and coaching a little bit on the side in basketball, and also doing some mentoring and quarterback training here in Arizona. Something that I've been doing over the years and enjoy every bit of.
Yeah, great stuff, Donovan. If you could then take me back to the beginning of your fatherhood journey. I know you said 17 is your oldest. So about how old were you then when you first became a dad, and how did that experience kind of change your perspective on life?
Well, it's funny. I was in my, I would say more in my early 30s, late 20s when I had my first child. And, it was one in which it was a blessing in disguise for me and my wife. My wife and I have been together since college, and something we decided to move into the next realm, obviously, when we married. But, when my bundle of joy was born, it was the start of something special. You learn a little bit more about responsibility. You learn more about parenting. Obviously, questions being asked to my parents of just the journey and things to be prepared for. But more importantly, when you have an individual like that that was born and you look into her eyes and you see yourself, it's just an exciting time of the year that you just want to, express that to everyone that you just had your first baby.
Yeah, very well said. And what would you consider to be the top values that you hope to instill in all your kids growing up?
Well, just work ethic, passion, goal oriented, being more confident in yourself, continue to perfect your craft. If there's anything that you do in life, not just sports, but just anything you do in life, put that extra effort for it in order to achieve and receive the benefits of your labor, and more importantly, to respect the people around you and continue to uplift them while you're preparing and you're trying to get the best out of yourself. Try to uplift someone next to you because that will go a long way.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing that's challenging for me, Donovan, that I try to make sure that I do with my four kids is spend individual time with each kid, because I know how much they desire that. Even if it's just a walk to the store or something like that, if I could fit that in and you give some kind of isolated time. And especially now, I know you say you got twins there in the batch as well. So do you make it a point? How do you kind of make sure you give each kid like individual isolated time?
Well, I'm all about family, and if one is playing and the others are not, I believe in support, and family support is something that goes a long way because it could be that extra boost that you need in order to get you over the hump in competition. And then, I try to go to every single one of their games. Hopefully, they're kind of spaced out where I'm not cutting one game in half just to get to another, but it's worked out in our favor in so many ways. Where with travel ball, where you go and travel and be there for one of your kids, and then come back, and then one weekend they're off, you go to another one, and you're there showing your support. But more importantly, as a dad, you want to continue to add that insight each and every time they participate to try to make them better and make them feel like they're getting better from the mental standpoint of the game. And so those things carry you a long way because sports is like life. You're competing in things that you may not think that you're competing with. If it's for a job, if it's for school, if it's for a test, if it's participating in class, whatever it may be, you're always competing, and continue to have those goals written down, and each and every day look at them and ask yourself, have you achieved that goal? And if not, why haven't you? So you have to put that extra work into it in order to reap those benefits.
Well said. And one thing I harp on quite a bit on my podcast here is that we have a fatherless crisis going on in our country. We got so many kids growing up without a father or a father figure in their life. And I think it's just having such a devastating effect on our society. I think one of the important parts of that is the discipline portion that comes from a father. I know I discipline a lot different than my wife does. So I wanted to ask you, what type of disciplinarian are you as a dad? And is that different than the discipline style you grew up with?
Well, I mean, things have changed a tad bit from when we grew up, but I still stay on the line of where my dad disciplined me, and that goes for my boys and girls. At some point you have to step out of the box a little bit, and you have to discipline them a little bit different than obviously other people may. But I also explain to my kids what it is that they've done wrong, and I explain to them the positives and the negatives, because we all learn from our mistakes. And I think it's very important that you take time to express, and so they understand a little bit of the mistake that they made and how it affects other people around them, including themselves. And when it comes to the ups and downs, obviously, me being in my 40s, we know that the discipline was a little bit harsh, as it should be at times if you continuously mess up like I did. But I do a little bit of that as well, but also take it back a little bit to give them an understanding of what's going on and how they can control their future if they just correct a few things.
Yeah, good stuff, Donovan. Yeah, I get a lot of that reaction when I ask the discipline question of, a lot different than when I grew up, So that definitely things have changed. And one thing I love to ask the NFL dads that I get on the podcast is because it can be a difficult decision for parents to make is letting their kids play tackle football and what age is a good one to start. So what's your opinion on young kids playing tackle football and what would you say is a good age for them to start?
Well, everyone is different, and it's a decision that has to be made because even when I first started having kids and then I had my first son, obviously the question came out, everyone was asking, when are you going to allow your son to play football? And obviously, the question, is he going to play quarterback? And it's like, listen, first of all, that's got to be a decision that he will make. But I always believe that, you have to allow your kids to mature. Give them an opportunity to learn a little bit about the game, love the game. And if they want to play it, then that's when you got to become a teacher of the game for them. And so I always felt like I was going to allow my kid to play if he wanted to at 11, 12, or 13. And my son just so happened to turn 12 during the COVID season. And so that kind of took him away from actually playing. And his first year actually was this year playing tackle football. And, early on, there are kind of questions if it was the right move, for him, if it's the right move or, do I really love the game? And then a couple of weeks in, he started enjoying it and competing at a high level. And it was exciting for a dad to see, because I always believe that in every sport that you play, it helps another sport. And these kids love the air-conditioned basketball court because everyone wants to be the Steph Curry, the LeBron James, the Zion Williams, whatever it may be. But don't understand that those guys played other sports as well. And once they learn the physicality of football and the speed and hand reaction time and hand-eye coordination, that helps in any other sport. And our son is starting to understand that a little bit. He played well this year. I was excited for him. And we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, really good stuff, Donovan. I seen you posted on Instagram there, the QBL Minicamps. What do you got going? What's that all about? Where can people go to sign their kids up if they're interested?
Well, we have a few quarterback trainers. A lot of us have played high school, college, semi-pro, arena, or NFL. And we, in our selective cities, we've been working with quarterbacks and something that is passionate for us. And we've come together to try to help develop these young men, give them the opportunity from a mental and a physical standpoint to be there at an elite level and be seen and showcased. And we have a lot of kids, especially for me, have kids from the age of 9 to about 21, 23 years old that I've worked with. And it's exciting because now I can embark my wisdom on them and teach them the intricate parts of the game from the mental standpoint. And when you learn the game from a mental standpoint, the physicality of it becomes easy for you. And so QBL is something that we've started just about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And it's taking its course now. Where you can go on our website of QB Legacy and find out exactly where we are, what cities we're having camps. We actually have a camp coming up February 26th, 27th in Phoenix, Arizona, that I'll be hosted out here. And, we have a lot of participants that have already logged in. It's still open for those who want to participate and come and get some wisdom and work on your footwork and balance and your throwing motion and work on your accuracy. And we talk the mental part of the game, going over defenses and things of that nature. And we also have a symposium that we do for the parents to learn a little bit more about the future of their kids and the role that they have to play, especially everything that we have with the NILs and, NFTs and all this other, three-letter words that, they have going on where these kids now can receive some money and they can receive some stipend. And we have a lawyer that comes in and talks about the intricate parts of that, the clearinghouse for the academic aspect, which is something I think is being overlooked because these kids have to understand you have to have a plan B if football doesn't work. So it's an exciting part. We have about 3-4 more that we will be posting of locations in which we will be going into different cities and states that we'll be having camps.
Yeah, so incredible. Yeah, and I'm going to drop a link in the description of this podcast episode so my listeners can tap in and find out more. But I think it's amazing the way we have access to guys like you. I mean, it's such a benefit to parents, to kids. It's so cool to have things like this available. And I know one thing, I had Steve Smith Sr. on the podcast here recently too, and I seen him and you guys had made the list there for the Hall of Fame, and they didn't make it for the last cut for this year. And I was surprised to see that for you two guys specifically. How important is it for you to get that Hall of Fame tagged on to really cement your NFL legacy?
You know what, to be honest with you, I mean, I never played the game to be in the Hall of Fame. I played the game because I love it. I had a passion for it. I wanted to be the best at it. And when I started playing back in 7th grade, it was the competition aspect of just proving not only to others that I can play the game, but proving it to myself. And as I got older, I started working more on my craft and building a work ethic that I felt like it would give me that opportunity. And playing in the NFL for 13 years, I think I proved that that I can play with some of the best. I proved that I was one of the best. And the rewards of it all, hey, if it doesn't happen, it will never take anything away from my 13-year career. For my kids, more importantly, they can go on, well, things have changed. I would have said DVDs and VHS, the old school stuff that we watch. Now these guys got to go on YouTube and all this other mess, the outlets that they have to be able to watch me play. But again, it's a reward to be mentioned with the greats that have played the game. But talking to a lot of them that are in the Hall of Fame, they know who I am. And so that's the exciting part for me, to be recognized by the Warren Moons and the Joe Greens and the Ronnie Lotts and those particular guys. So if I get a yellow jacket, that's great. But believe me, there's no sweat on my back if I don't.
Yeah, and I've had Warren and Ronnie on the podcast here too as well. Two good dads for sure. Mm-hmm. And so obviously your legacy in the NFL is pretty cemented, but what would you want your legacy to be as a dad?
Caring, very supportive. One who embarked the wisdom on just a normal human being, wanted to see the man next to him or woman next to him be happy. I'm just a guy who, is willing to do whatever it takes in order to better someone else's situation. And at the end of the day, that's something that I think goes more of a long way than people remembering how many touchdown passes you've thrown or how many games that you've played in. Because it's always about life after football and how you've changed the lives of others around you and have bettered their situation and gave them opportunities to be able to go on with their everyday lives confident and to be very successful.
Awesome. And I know you mentioned there, we talked about the mini camps and stuff, but we were in the new year here. What are you working on? Any other projects? What kind of goals or plans you have for yourself here for the future?
Well, for holidays, my Donovan McNabb Foundation, also with my sports group of 5 Sports Performance. We do a lot of things for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But right now, with my foundation and my softball organization, we're doing some things with the youth as ages from 10 to 14 and giving those kids opportunities to learn more about the game, continue to compete so that when they get to the high school level, it gives them a better understanding of how to play the game and compete with some of the freshmen and JV and as well as varsity. And hopefully some of them have that opportunity to go from freshman year, go straight to varsity and play at that level.
Awesome. And the last thing I'm going to hit you with here, Donovan, I love to ask all the dads that I get on the podcast, what type of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about-to-be father who's out there listening?
Well, I mean, you have to put your ego to the side and understand that there's someone that has your name, someone that has your blood and DNA, and you want to make sure that they have the easiest path to success, the easiest path to gaining confidence in themselves. But you have to be the leader. You have to be the teacher to walk them down that path so that they will understand not only that they can look over their right and left shoulder and know that they have the support of their dad in any situation that they may be involved in.
Yeah, very well said. I love the message. This has been an honor for me. I got to say, Donovan McNabb, you're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here at First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of it.